There is no way that you should have this kind of talent on offense and struggle to score against NAU and not score for the last, what? Oh, I don't know, 56 minutes of the game against Kansas State. That is a problem. Everything that we saw in camp, they were more innovative. They were including the tight ends. They were getting everybody involved. It was, this has been atrocious at this point, Sheer. There's no other way around it. So far, it's been atrocious.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm completely out on Babers yet because it's only been 3 games, but I think what we're seeing is what happens when you hire a guy who hasn't really called a play in a decade, I'd say. Right. And I said this before, like he wasn't the offensive coordinator at Syracuse. Like he really has not called a play in a decade at least. And it's just, I don't know if it's play design. I think some of it is. But there's no feel for the game. Like I went back and watched it, and because you get a better appreciation, and I retweeted it, and there's a counter play, and it works great, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the only time all season I think they've run it. Why?
Right.
Like, why? Like run it again, right? Like we saw plays, Mike. We said it. I said in the last show they haven't run it once, not once, and it worked.
And in camp, too, especially, I mean, we'll get to Kean Burnett here in a second because he looked like an emerging superstar. Basically hasn't been included in the offense at all. Now, with the running game, the one thing, it worked a little bit on the first drive, but come on, dude. Stop the slow developing handoff. I'll let you give the explanation for it that the coaches gave, and then I'm going to tell you why that is stupid.
Well, no, the explanation makes sense. It just doesn't make sense for the personnel.
Well, right, so it doesn't make sense.
Fine, but
go ahead, explain to it. Explain it.
Like if you guys remember when the Steelers had like Bettis and Le'Veon Bell, they would take the pullers and basically evolve their run game behind the pullers, and you'd get gaps, and it would be a great run game, right? And you had all pro offensive line, an all pro offensive line doing that, right? Yeah. They're doing a similar strategy. The issue is just your offensive line isn't good enough to do it. Okay. So if they were good enough, the strategy probably would look great. But it's basically against zone or man. They use the pullers, things like that, counter plays, and they're just not working.
All right, so here's my concern, and here's where I'm going to go with this. Let's just say that let's say that you're a coach that likes to get vertical, and you've been coaching Randy Moss your entire life. And, well, guess what? Instead of Randy Moss, you have Mike Luke. Are you still going to do the same exact thing? That to me just doesn't make any sense. I don't buy it. And here's where, again, I'm at with
this. Is that a Babers decision, you think?
Or an
Oglesby?
At the end of the day, this is Babers' offense.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, Randy Moss equals Mike Luke, yes.
Yeah, I see no difference between the two. That's why your comparison doesn't work for me there.
At the end of the day, though, this is Babers' offense, and he's been giving. I mean, it's not like Brennan's calling any plays. And by the way, we can dismiss that. Brennan, I don't think has ever called a play in his life. He's not going to take over to call plays.
I'll say that people want Babers to be fired. It's not going to happen.
Not happening.
But should he be fired, the play caller would become Matt Atkins. 100%.
Yeah. Okay, so there's that. We're going to get to Jeremiah Patterson in a second, but also, though, with this, I just can't believe there is no, and I was talking with our good buddy John Brogan about this, and that's the other thing. How do you have this type of talent on offense? You have the best player in the country, maybe in T-Mac. You've got a guy that we know what you do in Noah Fafita. I don't care what anybody says. Kean Burnett is wildly talented. You got solid running games as well. And you have no, it's a slowdown. It's like, man, we want to keep our guys on the field as long as possible. There's no field. There's no nothing. It's disgusting so far.
It's bad. There's no sugarcoating it. The offense is really bad, and it was bad against NAU when it should be good. But like, you should be able to know. And look, NAU won their last game by a lot. They actually might be pretty good at that level.
Doesn't matter
at that level. But you should be able to run the ball 50 times against NAU for 300 yards.
Yes, exactly. And on top of that, the passing game looks totally listless. Now let's get to the tight ends here for a second. Listen, all throughout camp, especially Kean Burnett, he dominated in camp. He looked like a guy that was going to be in the NFL in a year or two. I mean, and everybody saw it. He's been targeted like once. It's
weird. I don't know why. And like today, Brennan said like about the passing game, like we need to get the tight ends more involved. I don't know if it's a play calling thing. I don't know if the routes are too deep. I don't know if it's the O-line. I don't know if Noah's missing it. I don't know, right? That's something that you find out on film. I think it's probably a little combination of this and that, but they need to get him more involved. Like, they're just force the ball to Burnett. Like, there were practices where they were forcing the ball to him. Do it a couple times.
Yes, and there's just none of that. Now we need to talk about Patterson for a second. When it comes to Patterson, I'm still not. I'm telling you all.
I'm with you, Mike. We will not give up. Damn it! Throw a screen pass to my guy.
But again, I'm at
funnel screen.
I'm at the stage with this where I'm blaming Babers. I'm not blaming necessarily the players because I know what I've seen, and I know what I've seen, especially with Patterson. He was destroying people in practice, and everybody saw it. If you were there for 5 minutes, you knew exactly what you saw.
The dude is clearly really fast. Why not throw a tunnel screen to Jeremiah Patterson?
Right.
Why not throw a quick out to Jeremiah Patterson? One thing, and I'll criticize Bobby Wade a little bit for this too. These receivers can't get off blocks.
Right.
They can't get off blocks. And then when you look at some plays, the depth of the routes they're running makes no sense. Like, we were watching a play, I don't remember when it was, but they needed a third down conversion, and there isn't one guy at the sticks. They're like 6 yards past the first down marker. Why?
Right.
What
are you doing? Now, I do have to give, it's not Tavion Cunningham, Joseph. I'm just telling you this. Tavion Cunningham, we never went to practice, and Tavion Cunningham was dominating game in and game out. Now let me ask you this, Sharon. I got to give you a little bit of credit on something. I actually got to give you a lot of credit. If we were talking about something, a little bit of how do I put this? I almost said a red herring. That doesn't matter. Montana Lamonius Craig, you called it, Sheer. You called it. Here is your time to spike the football. For all that was bad, you called this.
Someone's got to do it, right? Like Montana, whether we like it or not, there is no second receiver. And so I just figured Montana or Patterson would be the guy. And Montana played well. And I know a lot of people are going to say it's in garbage play and all that, but it is what it is. He hasn't gotten it in garbage time before. So they need that second wide receiver. They have to find it. Whether it's Hunter, AJ Jones, like, throw someone else in there. If these guys aren't the answer, throw someone else in there. Malachi Riley today, I asked Brendan about injuries, which I'm not supposed to do, but damn it, I did. And he said,
limit your access.
It's going to be a while. He said it's going to be a while. So,
right.
We all silly like the mayor.